Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new issue of Multiple Realms magazine. As per usual, if you like these videos, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and comment as well down below. It does help me out massively, and of course I do enjoy responding to every comment as well, and I do appreciate everybody who likes and subscribes and everything like that. This week we're on issue 49, so not a bad issue. We get two paints, so we get White Scar, which has a habit of separating, but shake it up very well to get it mixed back in together, and hopefully it won't separate too much for you. And when we have Administratum Grey, doesn't separate, which is as often, thankfully, and he's very handy for highlighting. Both these ones are, so definitely worth keeping hold of those and making sure you get some good use out of them. Just make sure you shake them up very well before you use them. Now, into the issue itself, we are greeted by the Tempest Lords. So, the skies boom, and from on high comes a winged host of shining lords, as 12 azure bolts of lightning shoot down, bringing the rest of their earthbound comrades. The Tempest Lords have arrived from Azir. To look upon their gleaming ranks is to know true majesty. So the Tempest Lords are a bit different. They're another one of the major storm hosts, and they are kind of more, they hail from Haitian dynasty or of noble warriors and stuff like that, and everything like that, and they do worship Sigmar, but they also worship the teachings of the armoured high priestess known as Miradich, who rules. With the Tempest Lords as well, they are more known for having a kind of a better idea of grand strategy. So your grand campaigns and everything like that, they have a better kind of vision in mind for how they can play it out and how they can go through everything and all that type of stuff as well. So they are pretty cool for that type of thing. On the other page though, you've got a bit more of their idea of the iconography. So as you can see with these guys, they are a kind of a metallic blue, armoured with silver and white, and their shields are different from the usual shield. So getting these guys going from what we're getting with MacLeod and as standard with Stormcast Eternals is actually pretty difficult, because their iconography differs from everybody else's. So, which is a shame, but if you can get hold of some 3D printed shields, you might be able to get them ones made for you or anything like that, or you can file off the original iconography from the shields, which is going to be tricky as hell, and then paint it on yourself if you really wish to, or try and mould it yourself out of something like green stuff. You could try that, although I only do it if you're experienced, so you can always have a bit of fun with that one. The next page is all about death and carrying on that kind of book of death essentially, and giving us a breakdown of different bits and pieces to do with forces of death. So we have the malignants. So often it is that which we can not see that scares us most, and for this reason the Geist inspires more fear than any creature of flesh and blood. These cursed spectres devoid of physical form are often referred to as malignants. So with malignants, they are kind of more your ghosts. So the most common of the malignants is the Chain Rasp, and you include things like your Night Shrouds, your Wraiths, everything like that. Pretty much anything that is Nighthaunt is a malignant. That is basically a spirit that has been transformed into an evil entity, mainly by Nagash. So of course the curse of Nagash is mentioned here. So the term malignant is used to refer to any evil spirit without corporeal form. Sub-malignants, such as Cairn Wraiths, rise to undeath because they are filled with hatred and cruelty and refuse to pass on to the underworlds. Others are created by Nagash, who punishes souls he perceives to have slighted him by cursing them to an eternity of undeath. So, as mentioned before, Nagash is not the nicest god. He has a bit of a habit for kind of taking offence to anybody who does not praise him properly or anything like that, or even just slights him one tiny little bit, and he will kind of punish them to an eternity of undeath and servitude to him. So of course you have the condemned, which as I say are formed up of prisoners, executioners and jailers, and the most common of these are the chain rasps. So anything that is kind of more shackled and everything like that, so carrying ball and chain and other items with them, are your condemned and are the main kind of portion of the malignants. And then there is the wraiths as well, so Cairn Wraith, Guardian of Souls, Knight of Shrouds are all kind of free-willed and don't have as many kind of shackles tethering them. So have a bit more intelligence and they can do a bit more of what they want within the realm, the kind of bounds that Nagash leaves for them. And then we've got a page about the Seraphon. So the Seraphon are the lizard race. They are an ancient race from beyond the stars. Their armies combine celestial power, alien technology and primal savagery to devastating effect. So with the Seraphon, their blood, the blood that flows through them is actually powered by celestial magic of Azir. So it is not proper blood. A lot of the stories involves when Seraphon is slain, they don't fall, they burst into pure starlight, which is pure magic that is empowering them essentially. A lot of the Slann don't actually exist according to some of the novels and everything like that. They are brought forward by a Slann mage and kind of brought into being and imagined into being, but everything else gets attacked by them, and they do bear these pretty cool weaponry that is very reminiscent of ancient Aztec weaponry and stuff like that. So very, very kind of flat, no curved not very many curved edges on their weapons. They also have these cool shields made, are obviously made from like kind of like scaled hides and everything like that, and they have some cool units going from Bastiladons to Stegodons to the Carnosaur. There is also from Forge World the Dreadsaurus as well, which is absolutely huge and looks like a super huge T-Rex, which looks pretty cool as well. So you can get some really, really good models from these guys as well. So with these, there are kind of three kind of sections to them. So is the Coalesced. Whilst the Starborn return to their temple ships after a battle, some Seraphon have opted to settle in the mortal realms. As the Seraphon lingers in the realm, their Azurite nature mixes with the innate magic of the realm and eventually gain permanent physical form. Known as the Coalesced, these Seraphon embrace their primal nature as the light of Azir fades within them. So some of the Coalesced have kind of resided in the realms for probably a bit too long really, and their magic and the light of Azir fades from them, and they kind of just morph into primal savagery and become more of just essentially beasts really. The Old Ones are mentioned here as well. So the Old Ones are the mysterious creators of the Seraphon race, and they possessed a plan for all of creation. The Slann's purpose is to interpret this great plan and ensure that it is complete. So the Slann, if you don't know, are these kind of giant toad-like creatures and frogs that kind of lead from behind, mainly from behind, because they're not active combatants. They are mages, they are magical, they do not use physical weapons or anything like that, but they kind of lead from behind the ranks, pushing the Seraphon on. The Starborn are Seraphon who dwell in Azir and are charged with the realm's magic. In order to make war in the mortal realms, the Starborn must be bound in reptilian form by the Slann Starmasters before passing through translocation portals located inside of their vast temple ships. So with these, they are pure good, but they will fight other forces of order if needed, if they are kind of interpreted as being in the way as well. So they are pretty cool. I do quite like the Seraphon. They have a cool look to them. I have got some myself, and I haven't painted anywhere near enough of them. I could probably do getting round to that one day, maybe. With the battles bit, you literally have the Blood Gulch Stampede, which is the forces of Khorne going up against Seraphon. So the main Seraphon listed are Bastiladons and Saurus, and going up against mainly Blood Reavers more than anything, which is a pretty cool little kind of a Saurian Stampede as well that is mentioned here as well, which is pretty cool and could, yeah, pretty good, well take on the forces of chaos, which is pretty good. Your painting section gives you information about highlighting, so you can highlight some of your models, so using things like greys and everything like that, so kind of highlighting all the straps and kind of bits and pieces as well, and weapons and all that type of bit, so you can get a bit more edge highlighting done, as well as painting up your vortexes as well, which is pretty handy to do, and you can do it quite nicely. And make sure that you get things like your magical fire, the compass as well, and the lanterns done, as well as them spirit flasks that a lot of the Stormcast do carry, especially mainly Sequitors more than anything, but definitely worth doing, so you can get some pretty cool looks out of them, and kind of getting very close to finishing off individual models, which is quite nice, as well. So as well as doing things like highlights on kind of grey hair as well. So it's not too bad, it's pretty decent. It's a pretty handy little trick and tip and trick and everything like that for doing edge highlights. I still personally don't like them Gryph-hounds, so I don't think they look right personally. That might just be my opinion though. So with as well your battle plan, you've got some more bits and pieces about the tutorial, so how to do victory points, carrying on with all of that type of stuff. And how victory points can be worked out, and how you would kind of score your games essentially. Then for the kind of battle plan in good old Jamon as well is securing the Sigyorn. The Sigyorn echoes with the sounds of war. The night haunts spread across chaos-tainted landscape in their hundreds in search of valuable Shamanite. If they are to stem the tide, the Stormcast Eternals must fortify the ground they gained before the counter-strike can begin in earnest. So with this one, if you are going to do this battle plan, you will need Spirit Torment, Tomb Banshee, 5 Glaive Wraith Stalkers and 3 Spirit Hosts, going up against the Night Quester, 5 Sequitors, 3 Castigators and the Celestar Ballista, and it is literally just on one map as well, so you don't need all the other mats out. Then there is also a pull-out page that has come with it as well, which is War of Shadows, which is more about kind of it's based in Ulgu, and it is more about Marathi and the good old Daughters of Cain going up against Malerion and his good old Slaanesh kind of forces. Which is pretty cool. It's a pretty nice little bit of story and backstory to it all, and a bit of a nice bit of map as well, which is the Dominion of Shadrach. So, which good old Daughters of Cain are kind of like your dark elves essentially. They're pretty cool. They're Khainates. They worship murder, but they are not truly evil. They are elves at the end of the day, and they will just mainly kind of fight and everything like that they need to get through everything. Some pretty cool, interesting little points about everything as well on here. But going up against Slann is kind of their main kind of thing. Slann is kind of the quite opposite of what they are. So they do have a very kind of fondness for destroying Slaanite warriors and everything like that, and the followers of Slaanesh. Then next week we get issue 50, and it's got some Azurite ruins, expanding your terrain on your battlefield. The issue after though, you get that Lord Ordinator, which is pretty cool. He's in a very nicely posed model as well, holding them 2 hammers, which looks pretty cool, and definitely ready to strike. Really decent model as well. Normally that model is about 20 quid on its own, so worth picking up the issue just to get hold of that guy. Get 2 if you can, and paint 2 up. 1 battle ready, 1 you can make into something a bit special if you wanted to, but definitely worth picking up. Right, that's it from me for this week. Thank you very much for watching. I've kept you all too long really. Have a very good one, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye now.